The first of two big storms hit San Diego today, saturating neighborhoods as they struggle to recover from last week's storm. Welcome to the 4. I'm Heather Myers.
I'm Carlo Chiquetto. We have team coverage for you this afternoon. CBS 8's Kelly Hessedal talked to people in Mountain View, one of the areas under a voluntary evacuation warning today. And our Abby Black is keeping an eye on things in East County.
Chief Meteorologist Carlene Chavis is tracking the storm for us. We begin this afternoon with Kelly.
That's right, and it was a much different picture today compared to the last storm. Now, it has been raining on and off here in Mountain View all day long. We're getting a nice break from the rain right now. But if you take a look behind me, this is what people have been stopping by to look at all day long. This flood channel that runs behind 42nd Street here in Mountain View. It's clear. The water is flowing. It was cleared over the weekend by this city, and neighbors say this is the way it should have looked before.
This is something like out of a movie scene. Like I never in my life would I imagine that I would be living this here.
It's not fair. It's not fair. I mean, why is it that they came now and now it's clean? Why did it have to take this flood? Why? Why didn't they do something before?
And Mary Landavazzo, we've been following her journey since day one of this storm. Today, her home is under construction, the floors and walls ripped out as crews treat it for mold. Now, she and her husband have been monitoring the flood channel all day. They say for a while it was nerve-wracking, knowing the rain was coming and not knowing what to expect. But so far, everything's been okay. The water is moving along. The only large item we spotted in the channel appeared to be a shopping cart. Now, just to give you a sense of what it looked like before, we have a side-by-side view of the channel. Now, we've seen city crews in this neighborhood today. They've been handing out sandbags. People have been stacking them in front of their garages. We saw the fire department out here as well. Now, this neighborhood is one of the areas Mayor Gloria issued a voluntary evacuation warning for, but I'm told most of the homeowners have already left due to the mold in their homes. Now, I spoke to a mother with her 3-month-old baby. Miriam Hernandez is the mother's name, and they were waiting to leave too.
We're just waiting for vouchers to go to a hotel, and so that's why we're still here. Let's hope that it doesn't flood like last time, so we can come back to our homes.
And that's certainly what all of her neighbors are hoping for as well. Now, Miriam says that the hotel voucher she's getting should keep her in a hotel for at least 2 weeks. Beyond that, she isn't sure what's going to happen. She's also not sure how she's going to pay to have the mold removed from her home so she and her family can move back in. But for the latest from East County, let's go live to my colleague Abby Black. She is live in Santi. Now, Abby, I understand there were some water rescues during the last storm. What happened out there today?
Kelly, fortunately, there were no water rescues, but behind me is Forester Creek, and it feeds into the San Diego River. Even with that light rain, it's raging, and that can be dangerous for anyone setting up encampments. The Santi Fire Chief says that they've beefed up staff to assist with flood-prone areas.
Hotspots can be Forester Creek area.
During the height of the storm today, Forester Creek was swift. We could see debris and a blue tarp. This is very dangerous for anyone living in the creek. Last week, I witnessed an incredible water rescue by Santi Fire Department under Prospect and Olive Streets. A woman was clinging onto a tree. Firefighters used a ladder and a life jacket to rescue her. But the medical examiner reports that 2 people were found dead in the creek last week. Fire chief also says that crews have been working to clear debris from the creek and also to keep it from clogging, and also working with homeless outreach teams.
They have been proactively canvassing the area, communicating the need to really get out of those areas when the storm comes.
The storm is not over. There's another round and more next week, so people still need to heed the warnings. Santi has free sand and bags at the operations yard on Via Zapador. The fire chief says that they did not respond to any significant storm-related calls today. Carlo and Heather.
Yeah, Abby, the 911 system got overloaded during the height of the storm from last week. Do you know what Santi is doing to dispatch the calls efficiently if they're getting that again?
I mean, as you can imagine, with all of the emergencies that were going on last week, how overloaded that system was. And we know here in Santi, the battalion chief told me while I was on scene at that water rescue that it was a public works crew who saw that woman in the creek. They tried to call 911 but couldn't get through, so they called the fire department. Today, the fire chief says that they have added additional dispatchers to help with that and triage these calls, so the more the urgent calls they can respond to more quickly, and as well as with that minor flooding, those are called public service calls. That's how they try to triage them. But I also want to mention that just in the last half hour, we did see some city staff, Santi city crews here, just monitoring this area. So it's nice to see that they're still keeping an eye on this creek just to make sure that it doesn't get too high.
Good to see minimal impacts out there right now. Abby Black reporting live for us. Thanks, Abby.
Chief Meteorologist Carlene Chavis is tracking the storm.
Yes, she joins us now. Carlene, as we're watching this, we're seeing it's not awful like it was last week. Is that it seems like the rain's not falling as hard either. When I drove in, it wasn't pouring like it did last week.
Yeah, we were dealing with much heavier rain in a short amount of time last week. And then for today, we definitely had some widespread and some heavy rain earlier today. So this morning around 9 a.m. is when we started to see that really surging in. But things have calmed down within the last few hours. When we take a look at the radar, you are seeing that we have some spotty activity out there. You're seeing that for Fallbrook. You're also seeing it near Santi, as well as Chula Vista and Bonita. And as we take a look at the last 6 hours, that was what we were dealing with. So we did have some heavier rainfall and widespread across the entire county as we went from about 9 to 3. That was the key time frame when we were talking about a lot of that activity happening, and it was all ahead of a front. Now that front is still making its way through our county, and it's just quickly racing towards the east. So it's a fast mover, and because of that, that's why we weren't dealing with as much rain as what we saw previously with last week's storm. But we did have those winds that were picking up. That was also another sign there was a fast moving front. We would have had some calmer winds, more of a breeze than anything else, but we did have those wind advisories that were issued earlier, have since expired. When it comes to the last 24 hours, we have received more than an inch of rainfall right along the North County coastline, also more than a half an inch for National City as well as for downtown, and also talking about some significant rainfall for Escondido, and we're seeing that for Valley Center. I'm going to double check that number for Santi though. I was like, wait a minute. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to double check that number for Santi. I'm pretty sure that is not correct, but I will have the correct total for you next half.